business with a servant's heart. Welcome to the podcast. Inspiration, motivation takes. Listen to the pod.
Welcome to Doing Business with a Servant's Heart. I'm your host, Steve Ramona. Every episode is an invitation, a reminder that business life isn't just about profits, it's about purpose. And we're going to add social capital to that. We're going to talk a lot about that. You guys know what capital is? It's money. You know what social is? It's talking to your friend, all the time, not waiting 2 years to call them, the social. But we're going to jump into that. It's also about showing up with a servant's heart in every deal, every decision, every day to make a powerful impact on others. I always go off track here and I lose track, but I had to say that because today's guest, he's going to light you up. I met him about 4 or 5 weeks ago, and we just connected because we're in line with this social capital thing. But guess what? He's going to motivate you. He's going to challenge you. And more importantly, I love about what he's going to do is, walk away with tools and resources that can inspire action both in your life and in the lives of others. Can't describe social capital any better than that. So audience, here's your homework today. How are you going to serve yourself and others today? Today's the key word. Doesn't have to be a big impact. Even a small act of kindness or courage can change the game. So lean in, let's take some notes, and let's get crazy with this show. Quick shout out to A Mind of For All Seasons. Your brain is your greatest competitive edge, and it deserves to perform like one. Want to think faster, remember more, and stay focused longer? Then just text the word optimize, OPTIMIZE, to 72,000, 72000, and get instant access to 6 short, powerful videos, each just 3 to 5 minutes, that reveal simple strategies to unlock peak mental performance. Because when your brain is clear, your business grows. And the other sponsor, Epic Impact. Thank you, Haley. This storytelling system helps you message, connect, and convert. It's just 4 easy steps to tell your story. Engage, persuade, inspire, and close with clarity. I use it every day, and my stories are amazing. So try it free at epicimpact.ai with code STEVE. Change your message, change your results. Let's jump into this. I have such a long monologue because I always get excited to bring my guest on. Let's bring Rick on. Rick, welcome to Doing Business with a Servant's Heart.
Thank you so much for having me here with you, Steve, and just sharing the space with me.
I just thought of something. You're a young guy, but you have an old soul. Where'd that come from?
That's a tough question. I think just the life events that I experienced so young, very traumatic, lots of adult situations, before the age of 10. And I think it just kind of tempered me in a way for once I got older and actually took the time to heal myself, a great level of empathy and understanding for those around me.
So you grew up faster than most people. You hear
Absolutely.
that all the time. Yeah. Michael Jordan was a star basketball player early because he grew fast. He grew tall fast. That's powerful message for people. Let's jump into social capital in your book, Social Capital 2.0. I know it's 7 years old, audience, but you got to get it because today it's more important than probably was 7 years ago, right?
Yeah, I unfortunately can't disagree with you, Steve. Our society has gotten to a place where, we're in an epidemic of loneliness, and people are trying, I think, to find ways to connect with others. And our default mechanisms for doing that are failing us. We're kind of in a place where our brains are kind of meant for, 50 years post the Industrial Revolution, or maybe even less, and we're dealing with communication technology meant for aliens. So I don't think that we have quite caught up. And if I'm not mistaken, Steve, I think you said something similar to that last time we talked. But yeah, I mean, it's the truth. And so our default mechanisms and wanting to be efficient and wanting to grasp our time and utilize it wisely, we find ourselves in these time suck traps where we think we're connecting. Well, we are able to connect, but we're not connecting, and we're left feeling lonely. So the messages around social capital and the constructs that created are growing more and more important every day.
Your comment about aliens, computers and AI, and it's such a brilliant suggestion. And we're not saying that the aliens are coming. I know you're not saying that, but
Right.
humans have to learn all this, just like they have to learn social capital. So I love that statement. And you said it last time we talked. I never forgot it. I think I've shared it with a couple of people like, wow, that's brilliant. And it is. But let's break down social capital. What should people hear when I say that, when I tease the show with it?
Yeah, no, absolutely. Some people have trouble with it because you're putting together something that is innately human with something that, oftentimes is, like you said, related to money or some kind of actual physical capital. But ultimately, I define it in Social Capital 2.0 as the value in human relationships. The constructs that you'd use to measure the ones I do, and there are multiple modes of measurement. I use relational capital, cognitive capital, and structural capital. And relational capital is what it sounds like. It's creating relationships with others, and there are key components to do that. The cognitive capital is the knowledge we share with others, what we have to give to others, and what we receive from others by way of knowledge sharing. And structural capital is how we're viewed, both face to face and now in our online presence. Our structural capital is kind of our reputation. It's the way people view us or perceive us wherever they may interact with our persona or our social media presence, things like that. And that's the like measurable pieces of social capital. But for me, the intriguing thing is the less measurable, and it's
Yeah.
the potential for what can happen between two people.
Those are brilliant: relational, structural, and cognitive. They're just absolutely brilliant. We didn't talk about this before, so I'm starting to learn something myself. Aren't those easily to attain as a human?
Yeah, I mean, you have to, the main thing is, and it's part of my message right now with being intentional about connecting with others, you just have to be intentional behind each one. Intentionality behind relational capital is that intention to create relationships. Intentionality behind cognitive capital is intentional to gain knowledge wherever you can and utilize that, synthesize that, and help others in whatever way you can with your knowledge sharing and help yourself as well, understanding yourself more through gaining knowledge, understanding society more through gaining knowledge. And structural capital, there's so many ways that you can improve that. You can think about, people always say dress for the role you want, not the role you have, whatever. Follow whatever mantra you want, but it's just your presentation to the world and how you want to connect with others, how you want to connect with potential jobs and things like that. So all pieces of it are things that you can work on. And obviously those same elements apply to businesses as well, or other things that aren't necessarily directly human related. So there's a lot of applicable ways to measure those things.
Rick, I'm a little slow. Maybe I'm not as smart as you. That's not a bad thing. But what came to me is capital. That word you use in finances, it can go up. I started with 1 million. I have 10 million. My capital grew. Or I started with 1 million. It's 100,000. I lost 900. My capital um, deficit. That's why you put that capital word. Or I'm asking, why did you put the? Because your relationship can drop, your brand structural can drop, and your
Yeah.
cognitive can drop. You're not learning anymore. Talk about that because I think that's powerful.
Yeah, absolutely. No, all of it can have increases or decreases depending on what intentionality you put behind it. I think one thing that you could also say is I talk about that potential piece. Just as there's positive potential with social capital, there's negative potential with social capital. How you utilize your networks and the things you choose to do with other people that either help our society or harm our society, those things can have a positive or negative impact on society, and then thereby having a positive or negative impact on you as well. So you can damage your social capital as well. You can damage how people perceive you. Your structural capital can be heavily damaged by the actions you take within a society. Your cognitive capital can become worth more or lessened depending on what information you're sharing. If you're out there running around just spreading false narratives all over the place, eventually people figure that out, and then your cognitive capital is goes from being worth a lot to worth nothing because people can't trust you. They can't trust the knowledge that you're sharing. And then, obviously relationships can take a turn one way or the other. It really depends on who you surround yourself with. If you have a huge network of bad actors in our society, then you get lumped in with those bad actors. So your relational capital, you may have a whole lot of connections that make you look really, really bad or really, really good. And so, that's kind of those potential pieces in there because you can be hitting all the things. You can have a lot of great great relationships with people, have a lot of connections. That doesn't mean they're all good. You can be spreading a lot of information. That doesn't mean it's good. And a lot of people can know who you are, but you can be famous or infamous or somewhere in between, which is where I'd like to be. Not necessarily
Okay.
too far on either one, but
Yeah, I love this too because I think of introverts that I talk to about going and serving and doing podcasts. This is for you too. Now, your social capital, I have thousands of people in my network. You don't have to have that. We're not saying be like Steve Ramona or be like Rick. Be like you in your social
yes,
capital. That's the beauty of this too. It's customized to each person.
absolutely.
It's very cool. Leadership. I think networking and your network, I call, your network's your net worth. I call it now your quality network is your net worth. Because you just said I could have 10,000 people in my network and all bad people. Well, I'm a bad person. I mean, I'm not, but you get related to that. Talk about that a little bit and how leadership, helps leadership.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So whenever I did teach leadership courses at the university, I used the book The Leadership Challenge. That was the book for the course, Posner and Coos. It's been around for 30 plus years, doing research, gathering up information, and they put out parameters about what creates a leader. And one of the things in there is doing what you say you're going to do, like be who you say
Mm.
you are, breeding trust with those around you. And another one is inspire the heart, which is inspiring the people around you with your actions and your authenticity. So what you said, Steve, it's exactly that. Like you can be um, who you are. And that's the most important thing when we genuinely connect with people and we are our true selves, we encourage the others, we encourage their heart to show us who they truly are as well. If you take the understanding of relational capital, cognitive capital, structural capital, social capital as a whole, and put that into your leadership, one helps the other. It increases the other um, exponentially because they're so relatable in the structure of what a leader is. Um, the intentionality that I say to put behind everything, there's intentionality in the same way for yourself as well.
Mm.
You pouring into yourself, understanding yourself, um, helps you to then reflect that to the people that you're connecting with and giving them space to do the same. Um, yeah, it's inherently linked to leadership and being a leader.
I love that because it's you're teaching social capital. You have been. I think leaders need to learn that. And we'll use real time audience here. I met Rick, probably 4 or 5 weeks, whatever the time frame, gave you a couple of introductions. The first thing you told me was, Steve, I really appreciate those interviews. They're really good. Well, I built our relationship capital because now we're closer and we're going to work together, do things. Cognitive, because I taught you something or they taught you something through me, which I love the cognitive thing. I'm going to stop talking here because I'm getting so fired up because you can learn from I'm learning from you on this podcast, and hopefully you audience are too. So you have to, it's so powerful. And then the structural, my brand increased. You smiled and you said your body language changed. Say, hey, really thank you for that. I'll be really transparent. My brand grew. Man, Steve's a good guy. He gave me some great that's in like 30, 45 seconds. What you're talking about, we could do every day.
Mhm.
Dive into
Yes.
that, how somebody listening could do better.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I don't have a formula for a routine per se, but I am studying right now. I have a survey out right now, just gathering data on how people connect because it's important to me to understand the modes of communication. So whether it be face to face, over the phone, I think there's value in pretty much everything. Every way we can connect, it's utilizing it properly, and then the percentages of time within a relationship to make sure that the relationship is deep, meaningful, and persists. But just if I were to just put some thoughts to it, like I would try to have a unique conversation with a new person every single day. I think it's so important to not only um, to grow your cognitive capital or maybe even other things by meeting other people and potentially getting new opportunities, but just interacting with a human being and understanding who that human being is because although we do have similar things that we do, we're all very unique. And I think there's something beautiful to learn about every human being. So, top priority, connecting with at least one new human being every single day. Um, Thinking about that, think about your interactions with that human being and things you could have done better. Maybe reflecting on your conversation or points of the conversation where you might have felt triggered, or you might have felt uncomfortable, or you might have felt excited, and just asking like, when Steve, you're here with me, so when Steve says this thing to me, why did I feel so excited when Steve said that? And helping to understand yourself better through those interactions with other human beings and understanding who they are. But really just getting out there and trying to see other people. Beyond that, taking those reflections and turning that into a study plan for yourself. Read books like the Leadership Challenge, or Jane McGonigal wrote one called Super Better, which is great. It's gamification of your existence. You can turn
Jeez.
anything into a fun interaction. She literally gamified her life to help heal herself. But just being reflective, caring, intentionality behind what happens in our days. I think we get up in the morning, we got to go get our cup of coffee, we got to eat breakfast. Then we got to get in our vehicle and we got to go to work, or we got to go to our office and we got to go to work. Then we have to do all the tasks for the day. Then we have to drive home and take care of home. And it's always this got to. And it's like, when do we stop and say, how did my day go? What were my interactions like? And just questioning more, being curious about ourselves. You have inherent value as a human being. Your existence is beautiful. And the higher power, however you consider that, the universe did not make a mistake. You're exactly where you need to be, doing exactly what you need to be doing. Reflect on that, understand that, appreciate that, appreciate yourself. And that just, if you do all of that, it's helping you to prepare to do that for others more. And that's where you can engage. Like, every single piece of your day can be an exciting, reflective experience for you, good and bad. When bad things happen, people always say, well, why did that happen? I don't understand why that happened. Why can't we do the same for good experiences too? Something amazing happens. Ask yourself, why does so many good things happen to me? Let your subconscious brain take off and ask that question and figure that out. If your brain's searching for why is everything so good, my thought is that you bring more of that to you. If your brain's always asking, why am I so downtrodden? Why is all these bad things happening? Then your brain will look to clarify that to you. Your brain will look to prove to you that, oh yeah, things are really that bad. Here, I'll show you. So flip the script on that.
Yeah. You just, I don't know, you say it so humbly, but that's huge what you just said, because we always talk about that. Oh my gosh, why did that person die? Why did God take him away? Or why did the universe, whatever? He was so young. But then when I go, why is this guy doing such a great thing? This young boy went and gave $500 to a homeless person that he earned. I'm kind of making a story, but there's stories
Yeah.
out there.
Oh, yeah,
Why don't we
absolutely.
think about that, and why that's not, I love you're on to something huge here, and we're brothers from another mother. I love you. I'm gonna say it with so much love, because I
Same here,
teach,
Steve.
well, entrepreneurs. I teach them meet 10 new people every week. And the response I get is, I said, think about it. If it's 20, 30 minutes, that's 5 hours of your 40, 50 hour week.
Yeah.
Talk about building social capital. I won't get it. I mean, I've done that, and I became top sales guy in my company doing that. So the money does come. It
Hmm.
just, when you meet people, just be open minded. Maybe something comes, maybe nothing. You just meet somebody, and maybe you never talk to them ever again. We're not saying you got a social capital with everybody. I'm making this point because I'm hearing people make all these whining. I'm just gonna say it. It's whining, and I'm getting kind of fired up because I used to do that, so I know. But on the leadership skill side, because a lot of leaders listen to this, what do you think is the skill is most undervalued for leadership?
Wow. Um, hmm.
Probably never been
Most,
asked that. As I asked that,
yeah.
probably he's probably never been
Everybody
asked that.
everybody always asks me the opposite. Like, what's the most valuable? So what is the least valued but like a really important leadership skill? I'll be honest, I think it's just, I don't want to sound cliched to the topics that I talk about, but it's really letting your people know that you see them and you understand their needs. And I think every company encourages that to some extent, but it's always on this like really shallow level that we're supposed to care for our people. But I've seen so many narcissistic tendencies in leadership. I've seen so many surface level leaders. And if you can know your people in a way where you can remember the things that are important to them, and you connect, like inspire the heart when you're able to connect with your people deeply, they're there for you when you need them. I always say my mantra is your health, your family's health, and then whatever you need, I need you to do for me for work. And I stick to that. I honor that and I'm there for my people. And then in those moments where it's crunch time, they're there for me because they know that it's not some kind of shallow surface level thing that I'm saying. I'm not coming in on Friday and bringing in pizzas and trying to cheer everybody up. Like I genuinely care. When you reach out to me at 10:30 a.m. on a Wednesday and your kids knocked one of their teeth out and they need to go in, it's like an emergency. You're gone. You just tell me. You don't ask me. And I take the time to understand their work enough that I've got their back. Like I not only know my work, I know their work. So when they leave, they're not going to come back and get slammed either. Like I can step in, answer those emails, and be there for them. And that's just that, I guess that level of commitment to people. And I know there are leaders out there that do it because I've had leaders that did it for me. And that's what's really inspired me to do it. But I also think it's an undervalued skill by most senior leadership because at the end of the day, we have a efficiency mentality and we're trying to get things done. And I just want to take the relationship deeper than that. I want to clarify. I'm not friends with people at work. I don't consider my work colleagues family in any way whatsoever. I have a clear distinction there. But whenever I'm leading someone, I have a responsibility to that person, and I am everything I can be within the bounds of the workplace, because that's what I'm supposed to do.
And your work
Um,
family. We use the phrase work family.
yep, that
It
works.
doesn't mean
Yep.
you're going to go out, to a movie every Friday or once a month with them. If you want to, you
Right.
can. And that's the
Yeah.
great thing about this. If you want to do that and have friends in your business, be
Yeah.
aware of that. That's just your decision, my decision. You're amazing, Rick. You're so much more amazing than I thought. When I first met you, you blew me away then, because Gary Vee just put out Gary Vaynerchuk. If you don't know,
Oh,
he's a top
yep.
marketing guy. He said, and he swears a lot, which that's his thing. Don't effing do barbecues and beer Fridays and movie Thursdays with your team. And I came up with a phrase that's band-aiding social capital. It's
Mm,
that owner's like, hey, I just bought you a bunch of beer, Rick. Guess what? You better work your butt off for me as I'm
yes.
out in Puerto Rico on vacation. And I'm not saying leadership should go on vacation, but here's a perfect example. A lot of people put a lot of money into nonprofits, but they put money away and they walk away. Well, why don't you put money in and go on their board, or go serve soup, or go to the hospital and be with kids? Because that's what I want to do. So I know you would do that, and I could see in your face you do that. So this is so brilliant. We're coming to the end here. What do you see? I don't think you can answer this, but in the next 3 to 5 years, where would you like to see social capital look like?
Mm. I would just like to see people more aware of a couple of things, more aware of how important their existence is, more aware of how important connecting with others is, and putting intentionality behind it. We are in a loneliness epidemic. The way to combat that is to get out there, connect with people, bridge the gaps with other people. I would love to just see more awareness of the need for that and the benefits of that for the individual. Even if you approached social capital from a completely, relational capital in particular, from a completely selfish lens, you're like, I'm going to get out there and connect because it helps my health. Great. That's fine. If you're doing it to help your health, I don't care. If you don't want to get out there and benefit anybody else, get out there and benefit yourself. But I promise, getting out there and talking to people is never going to be a bad thing. Yeah, you have disagreements. Yeah, you have differences of opinion, but it's a growing opportunity for you. And even if you're just doing it to benefit yourself and get the benefits of connecting with others, feel that connection, you're giving that to others too. So you're not, it's never a one-sided game. Um, I just, like I said, 3 to 5 years, more awareness, more intentionality, um, more empathy for ourselves, more grace for ourselves so that we can then do that for others. Um,
Yeah.
that's what I'd love to see.
I love it too. I love what you're saying because as I started the show with, and I know when I said it, you smiled. You got to serve yourself first and serve others. Your
Hmm.
social capital. And here's the thing about social capital, audience, that he's just taught me. I'm so much smarter this last 25 minutes. This is why I love doing hosting shows. Is capital also? Let's use stock. I've got 50 stocks. Well, 5 of those stocks aren't performing correctly. What do I do? Or my advisor does. He removes those and replaces them. Same thing with your social capital. 3 or 4 people are a bad apple in your bushel. I've done that, and it's been a paring of that. People that weren't in line with me, weren't culturally connected with me in a sense of serving and all this. And that's the power of this. You're in control, right?
That's right. Yeah, I mean, you control your intentionality.
Yeah.
Everybody else has to own their response. If you run into people who are bad apples, you run into people who respond negatively, they have to own that. And if that's the only way they can respond, you own your intentionality, and your intentionality is to connect with those around you in a positive way. And you can be intentional about who you choose to connect with in a positive way. So that's they just have to do that. Everybody's on their own journey, and some people are willing to take new steps and be objective, be open and connecting, and some people are not. And you just have to decipher that as you go.
And that's I mic drop right there. And that's a massive mic. Double the size that's in front of you. That's huge. So let's end with a fun question. Speaking of social capital. So I've reserved a table at a restaurant, table for 4, so you'll only be one of the chairs. You have 3 empty chairs. Who are you going to invite, whether dead or alive, that you'd like to sit and talk to and get to know and learn from? But more importantly, what is Rick ordering for food for the table? Because it's your
Oh,
table.
what am I ordering? Well, ever since I was in college, I'll answer that part first because I know it. I went to the same restaurant in the same town. I bought a house in that town. It's 20 hours from here. It's back in Tennessee. But I bought a house there just so I could go visit family and eat at that restaurant. It would be the La Cabana in Martin, Tennessee. It would be their Fiesta Baja Bowl. We're all going to get that. We're going to enjoy that together. It is shrimp, steak, chicken, rice, beans, all the things. It is absolutely delicious, delightful. And that's what we're going to eat. Um,
Awesome.
Dead or alive, man, I tell you, um, it's going to be a kind of an eclectic mix. I always have to, when these questions come up, I always have to include my dad. My dad passed away whenever I was 3. He was died in an altercation with the police, and I've always wanted to actually have a conversation with him. So that would be the first one. The second one would be probably Maynard James Keenan. He's the lead singer of Tool, Pussifer, and a Perfect Circle. I went to his 50th birthday Cinquanta out in LA at the Greek, and even though I had the VIP pass, still didn't get to meet him. And VIP Tool in Manchester, still didn't get to meet him. So I'd like to talk to that guy. I just want to say thank you. He's in my acknowledgement section of my dissertation. All the many nights I listened to Tool writing that beast. So thanks, Maynard, and hopefully I'll get to have this dinner with you sometime. And then for the next one, honestly, there's literally no one else I'd rather have dinner with than my wife, Allison Mask. So I would want her sitting there with me too.
Amen. Oh, I know. Great time. And by the way, audience, if you know Manford, what's his name again?
Maynard James Keenan.
Mayor Jens Keen. If you know him, reach out to me and let's connect. Let's do social capital. Let's do it right here on the show. Never done this before. Reach out to me if you know a way to connect them with them. Just maybe even a phone call would be awesome because this guy, Rick, deserves a little gift like or a big gift like that. So, you know, you're a blessing. I've said all through the show, you're amazing. Thank you for taking the time. But I know people listening want to connect with you. Social Capital 2.0, where can we get that and purchase it and all that?
Amazon, barnesandnoble.com, and any book resellers for the most part. It's pretty much everywhere now.
Beautiful. Is there any way people can connect with your website or anything?
Yeah, so I'm on LinkedIn. That's normally where I professionally connect. So you just search Dr. Rick L. Mask, and I usually pop up. I've been very specific in that, so I'm easier to find. That's where I like to connect.
I love the way you look and you say doctor in front of your name because you don't look like it. If you wanted, I would never. And I love that because you shock people. And that's part of social capital, shocking for good.
Absolutely.
Thanks again, Rick, and audience. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. And this is a perfect show to do that. These are absolutely gifts to impact other people. I said at the beginning of the show, didn't he motivate you? Didn't he challenge you? I know he challenged all of you. He's challenged me. But you're talking to somebody, and here's social capital. They're talking about life and meeting and isolation or whatever, loneliness. Take the link and share it with them. You got to listen to Rick. Oh my God. He's got some great tips. Well, if they listen, again, it's intentionality. I'm going to use your phrase intentionality, give them the gift. They listen to it or not, that's their thing. But if they do and it changes their life, you've just gave them a gift of life. So it doesn't have to be my podcast. Any other podcast you listen to, subscribe if it resonates with you and share them out as gifts. Because that's my goal, is to make podcasts the gift giving for the rest of our lives. So with that being said, me and Rick want to thank all of you for watching or listening to this podcast. And we'll see you all on the next episode of Doing Business with a Servant's Heart. Have a great day, everyone.
Thank you.